Alrighty. Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the marathon. This is Dragon Ball Z Boo's Fury, the third game in the Legacy of Goku series, even though it doesn't have the name. But it's based on around the same mechanics, the same RPG element, the same movement. It's a legitimately good game. In my opinion, it is. It's my favorite DBZ game to run. But let's get into it. So the timer will start as soon as we start new game, and then the timer will end at when you hit yes for the final chapter. Okay, we'll start 3, 2, 1, go. So a little history about this game, because the early game is kind of boring. Not really much to it other than just hitting B button over and over again. But some history to this game. This game was created in the US and was never released outside of the US. For who knows reasons. Maybe the company ran out of money or whatever. Which is a real shame, because out of the three that they made, this is probably the better of the three. Log 2 being the more solid of the three, but this one being better overall. Kind of fixing all of its issues. So this game is going to be covering over the entire Buu arc and 2 movies. Broly Returns and Reborn. I think it's Fusion Reborn, yeah. So to start off, you're probably noticing that I am kind of just deleting text boxes before they can even barely show up. In this game, there's something called text box mashing, where, well, it's not what it's called B mash, where if you just smash B, the button over and over again, you will pretty much cancel the text boxes as soon as they show up on screen. Which kind of makes this a little better to run over log 2 and such, because for log 2 you'd have to just spam like A and B over and over again just to move the text as fast as possible. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to do some little grinding at the start, make sure Goku's level 70, because we're going to need him to be 70 the next time we use him. And every other area in the game at that point doesn't really give good XP, which is kind of funny that the first area you go to gives the better XP overall for that portion. So we're going to grab this weighted gear, and we're going to grab this weighted gear. We're going to pause the game, equip the first weighted gear, but not equip the second one, because 2 weighted gears reduce... So weighted gear reduces movement speed, and if you have both of them on, it'll reduce it tremendously, and we don't want it to be too slow, because then it makes it harder to combo and kind of kill your enemies and move around. So one of the little tricks that we do in this game is we'll have a weighted gear equipped for the XP, and then we'll have a movement speed boosted boots normally, or whatever, to just try to reduce that speed as much, reduce that weight loss as much as possible. So for a little bit, we're just going to be kind of grinding here. I'm also going to be trying to pick up some money, because we're going to be buying some early shoes to help reduce the speed early in the beginning game. There's a lot about this game that's interesting. First off, it's obviously it's a GBA, as y'all can tell. There are not many people who run it on the console. There's a lot of emulator runs, which are very acceptable in this game. We have, out of the DBZ speedrunning group, Boo's Fury is one of the bigger ones. It's not that big, but it's one of the bigger ones that people run. This game is just well loved. There's a lot of cool tricks. It's a very buggy game. There's a lot of skips and stuff that we just haven't implemented or haven't even come up with yet. If we're doing well enough, I'll try to attempt a skip that hasn't been done in a run yet, but if we're not doing so well, I'll just kind of forget about it. So, like I said, right now all we're doing is just kind of grinding, trying to get to 70 as fast as possible. This game's... The only problem to this game compared to like Log 2 or Log 1 is that this one is very grind heavy. You gotta go spend several minutes just trying to get to the right level just for level doors only. Like, we've been trying since the very beginning to find ways to skip level doors. And funny enough, there are ways to skip it. Just nothing you can do in a speedrun, which is kind of dumb. Because, like, you can literally fuse your way through a level door. But that's, like, after you've done everything. So it's just kind of not worth it. Also, this game is really weird in terms of how they set it up. Because you can go back chapters, which... It's not in this version, but it's in the 2-for-1. So... And for this game, there are 3 versions. There's the beta version, which no one has any copies to at the moment. But it apparently does exist. There's version... The one we're playing... Version 2, which is... Which is in the 2-pack for Log 2 and Boost Fury. Which is it's the earlier version, which is weird, because it has more items, it has different placements of characters, and it has some kind of problem with the chapter section where you can actually go from the very end back to the start of the chapter 6. So you'll be at chapter 11, and then suddenly you're back at chapter 6 for some reason. So the way the chapters work are really weird. They also added a new feature that's a guard, which is kind of poorly implemented, actually, because if you just move another direction while you hit the guard, it just ignores it. So you'll notice how I'm kind of like moving up and down every now and then, because I don't want them to guard. This is also another game where crit is really, really bad. Because, like, if you crit someone, you'll send them flying across the room. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to crit. You want to, and it's really weird, because if you have them against the wall and you crit, they'll bounce off the wall, have a frame to do something, and 9 out of 10 times they'll go into guard. And you don't want them to go into guard because you can't mash as fast. You still have to start moving around. There's also a lot of cutscenes, which, to be honest, the good thing about this game and what makes it kind of better than the other two is that they really went out of their way with all these cutscenes. Like, they made it very reminiscent of the show. So here's the Otherworld tournament. The only one you get to fight is PyCon, sadly. It'd be kind of cool if you get to fight some of these other guys. So another thing that's cool but you won't get to see in the run is instant transmission is broken. And what I mean, like, broken is, like, there's so many just random glitches involving it. There's actually a glitch later on in the game where if you teleport to one thing into another, it'll just throw you into the nearest wall for some reason. And we have no idea why it does that. It just does it random. PyCon has a flamethrower for some reason. You won't get to see it because he didn't use it, but sometimes he'll throw a flamethrower out at you and you just kind of face tank it and be like, whatever. So that's the guard. Kind of reduces damage a ridiculous amount. And see, this is what I'm saying. They put a lot of effort in these cutscenes because, like, what kind of games have this? This is so cool. Visually, Boost Fury is just so much fun to play and so to watch. Now he's saying, you know, you're both disqualified for touching the ceiling. But yet they still both win because fairness, I guess. So normally I would not get what I'm about to pick up, but because this is a marathon for safety, I'm gonna grab the Lazarus Crystal, which is, if you Zelda fans know, it's like the fairy in this game. You die, it reses you. There actually is a glitch involving the Lazarus Crystal, where, well, actually you don't need it, but if you pick up an item, as soon as you die, it'll register as you're dead, but at the same time won't game over you. And It's kind of cool because like everything freezes as though time stopped. No loading zones work. Nothing. It's interesting. It's worthless for a speedrun because like I said, all it does is just prevent you from game overing, but you can't go anywhere. You're just stuck in that area. But you can kind of walk through things you're not supposed to and stuff like that. You won't see it in a run because, like I said, it's kind of worthless for speedrunning, but it's a cool little trick. So here's this thing. Just kill these two guys. Another thing about this game is really RNG related. Very RNG heavy. In terms of you need certain gear drops to save certain time spots to certain times. So for example, early game, if you get a demon mask, a snorkel, you can save a good amount of time. Late game, if the more gear drops you get, the better gear, like better weight gear and all that, could decide if you save a minute or two from the grind later on. If you get sneakers, that's a ridiculous time save, because it's the fastest movement speed item in the game for any percent. For 100%, it would be the soccer shoes, I think? I can't remember. 100%'s route. But yeah, like, we'll just cross our fingers and hope we come across any of that. Any of that would be good. There are some times where you just don't get anything, and you just kind of go off the base items you get, which is why we've kind of made up a route so that it's not as bad, but it's still pretty bad. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly to a city. Hope to God I don't hit an airship, because airships love to fly into you in this chapter for some reason. And then every other chapter they just want to avoid you. Alright, so the airship did not follow this way. Good. Alright, dodge the policeman. Okay, that dude right there has screwed me over so many times. And he's really annoying, because he just likes to walk in front of you to bonk. Run up here. Grab this capsule. Ah, he trolled me too. Of course. He's another one that could just run in front of you. If you probably noticed that this game uses the Bruce Faulkner music, which, first off, is an amazing soundtrack for DBZ games. I don't know why they don't use it as much. But, it really works for this game. Like, it gives you that whole feeling of DBZ. And we just get the Great Saiyaman out. I will, once we get to the part where we use the Great Saiyaman outfit, I'll explain how it's the most broken transformation in the game. Even Super Saiyan 3 doesn't compare to it. Which is kind of funny that the one thing that most DBZ fans hate is the most broken thing in this game. I'm not sure. I think I enjoyed the GT stuff, so I'm a bigger fan of GT related stuff just because of the music. The game GT Transformation, which is supposed to be what comes after this, which I don't know why they changed the formula. They could have kept this, but yeah, it's not bad. Anyway, off topic there. We're gonna go through this cutscene. Next, there's gonna be like a robbery. We're gonna just kind of kill those guys, and then I'll show you a cool little skip that saves 2 seconds if you can get it right the first time. Which is a simple skip. A lot of this game is funny. All these cool little skips we're doing are so easy to do. Like, this is probably one of the easier DBZ games to pick up and learn to play. There's a lot to learn, but a lot of these cool skips and stuff are just very simple to pull off. Alright, so now we're going to transform the Great Saiyaman. Okay, but then we're going to Kai Blast. do the spin Kai Blast because level up reasons. I don't know why it always does that, but it's hilarious to me. I'm assuming it's because you're firing one off and then you level up, and every time you level up your character spins, so for some reason it just has to shoot it while you're spinning. It's silly. Alright, so this is kind of a quick little skip. It can save you 2 seconds if you're fast enough. So we'll go Super Saiyan. If you push the downward, it'll start that cutscene. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna run up, run to the side, then run down, and then run over, which is going to skip that cutscene altogether. Put these points in. So in this game, they added a feature where you can put in strength, or you can put in whatever, and we're going to be abusing that, and big time. You'll see that we'll be able to do, like, ridiculous amounts of damage in a short period of time. We'll barely ever use Kai Blast if necessary. There's only, like, a few fights where it's useful and necessary. This is like solely just punch simulator. Alright, so this is where I'll explain Great Saiyan Man and why it's the most broken transformation. You literally get all the stats of Super Saiyan without any energy loss. So literally, right now, I'm a Super Saiyan that doesn't lose energy at all for being in it. And it's kind of funny that they designed it that way, because it makes Super Saiyan 3 bad, because Super Saiyan 3 drains your energy twice as fast as Super Saiyan, and not really much of a gain. Like, you maybe get like 1 or 2 strength or power more, which don't really matter that much, because you're already charging your punches up to the max anyway. So it's just kind of like, whatever. So, like, you'll only see me use Super Saiyan 3 when it's story related. Any other time outside, I won't. It's not worth the time to use it. Which just kind of sucks, because Super Saiyan 3 was the whole cool factor of this game. So we're going to level Gohan up to 65 here, for level door reasons. Every time you see me grinding, it's mostly just because of level doors. There's not really any other reason why you'd ever grind in this game. Once I'm getting to a cutscene, I'm gonna move some stuff around on my screen. Make it easier for me to see the chat. Okay, so 64, run down. So, you know, we're just saving some dinosaurs, and, you know, from some circus guy, and apparently, he is not happy about this. So he's gonna send in his good pal Tank, because who would have guessed a circus guy could afford a tank? You know, I would assume that would be a little expensive, but hey. So we're gonna move up, hit it, level up, 65, and we're gone. Best way to kill a tank, remember, punch it. Ow, tank. So the stuff like the tanks and stuff, because there's so many animations going on, that you'll notice how the game just kind of lags. So in stuff like that, we either don't want them to move at all, or if they start moving, we need to destroy them, so that way the game doesn't lag out. It's kind of the downside to this game, in my opinion. There's so much on screen that it's sometimes hard for the Game Boy or the players to even pull it off that well. Okay, so we're gonna fly here. This is gonna be the end of chapter 2. Bonk. I don't know why like that happens. Sometimes you'll bonk off of going directly center, and sometimes you won't on that door. It's kind of weird. It does whatever it wants, and that's kind of what this game is. It kind of just does whatever it wants sometimes. You never know what you'll find in this game. There are several just random soft locks that could happen. Dang, some stuff's going on in the chat. Snickers sounds good right about now. So this is chapter 3, the World Tournament. Then one of the more boring sections. So this is known as, this is the Goten minigame. It is awful. You cannot predict where he's going to throw it. It is all RNG, and sometimes it just kind of, he'll throw it directly where you are, and there's not much you can do about it. And I got through in the first try, so that's good. That minigame can be awful, because he can just hit you 5 times in a row, and there's not really any way to predict it or anything. You just kind of have to hope it doesn't happen. So, for this next one, this is kind of like a, I guess, a Trunks minigame. You can hit him on the first frame. I'm going to try to hit him on frame 1, but if not, I'll hit him immediately afterwards. Ah, I missed it. Alright. Oh shit, I missed the second one too. Yeah, it is possible to hit him on that first frame, but I guess I was mashing a little too fast, so I just ignored it. That'd have been cool to get. Oh. That's one of the harder frame perfect punches. Like, you can immediately end a text box, hit him, and then he just hits you back. It's kind of funny. Because, like, when it, if you did it, like, slowly, he goes, if you hit me, you can enter the tournament. You just immediately hit him. If you do frame perfect, and it's really funny. But I made a mistake, so it's fine. It's not much of a time loss. We are at the World Tournament now, and we're going to have a little menu up ahead. We're going to have to buy something real quick, and then we'll go move on to the tournament portion. So what we're going to do is we're going to run up here, go to the gift shop, and then we're going to buy these. Once you buy those, just go on straight to the tournament. So the reason we're buying those, like I said earlier, is we're going to use that to reduce weighted gear drops, so that way we don't have to lose so much movement speed. Plus, it's just bonus movement speed overall, so it's good on all, pretty much all the way around. So, like, interesting facts about this game. If we could find a way to go through that door, we could skip this whole child's tournament. Because, like, Videl is sitting in that room right now. And, like, she's sitting in that room, like, in a damaged state. So we would actually skip a lot of stuff. But for some reason, we can't find a way through it. So there's not much we can do about it. We have to do everything normally. We've been trying for so long to find a way to just walk through that door in many different ways, but there's never seems to be any that are useful. If anyone can find that, it'd be a very help. That would save a lot of time here. There's the Child's Tournament. This blue enemy is the worst out of the children's fighters because they don't have any damage frames. What they chose to do damage frames is to turn around. So literally he can swing immediately afterwards. So you have to hit them perfectly timed, which is kind of annoying. This one's pretty simple since he has damage frames. And then it switches back. So it's going to switch between these two for a bit until we do the story character. Then again, it goes back to the regular pattern. T5 Goten after that. So match 5. We're going to pause, put the points into our strength. You guys in chat are making me want a Snickers, please. Yeah, so I don't know why they designed that character to do that, where he just kind of turns around. Like anything else other than turning around would have been fine. Whatever. And next will be the Goten fight. So this is very simple, just like everyone else. Just punch, 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 punch. Put the points in. You can see how like adding a few points can change it dramatically in damage-wise. And there's that fight. It's because that one person has to cheer for everyone. It's just how it works, man. So this is their frame perfect here. It's actually this is the easiest frame perfect in the game. And then just start spamming A. There you go, frame perfect. Hit him as soon as you could. As soon as the guy runs off screen, just start spamming A and you'll hit it every time. It's kind of funny. So up next is probably the second or the hardest fight in the game. So I might have to focus for a bit. So now we're playing as Videl. Part 1 down. Alright, we're through. So that is a very scary fight because one, Spopovich can hit you retardedly hard, and two, you literally die in 3 hits. And you have to fight him twice, so we got through it and we're good. And this is like Popovich just beating up Vidal. So here's one of our first glitches that will be coming to play, which is a major one. I'll explain it while it's going on. So right now in the store we have to go grab a sensu bean. So we're just gonna run down and go grab one. We're gonna fly around. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over here, fly up, and we're off. This is a cool feature that Log 2 and Boost Fury have, where you can just fly around the world. I think that's really cool. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get a sensu bean, and you know we've been flying a little bit. Let's put our points in real quick while we're at it, because why not? But we've been flying, so let's just eat everything in our inventory. Even the sensu bean we're gonna need for Vidal. So we're just gonna fly back. It's fine. She don't need one. She's fine. It's all fine. You know, the main reason we came over to get ones, you know, when she didn't need it. She's good. Go talk to Gohan. Let's make sure we... Okay, so... No sensu bean, we good. Here you go, here's a sensu bean that we don't have. See, she didn't need it. I don't know what she just ate, but she ate something. The world will never know. So what just happened there is it pulled a sensu bean out of an inventory slot that we don't have. So what it did is it just gave us the max number of sensu beans in the game. And it's just a simple overflow glitch where you, underflow where you just pull something where it doesn't exist. Alright, that fight's over. This is also my favorite song in the game, which you're gonna hear only for this part. That's it. Which sucks. This song should have been more places. Oh well. Gotta fly to catch up to everybody else. Chapter 4. So chapter 4 is when gears start gonna start to be relevant. You know, I'm gonna have to try to get hope for a demon mask or something, so we don't have to level up Vegeta as much. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch to Goku. Go Super Saiyan. Run up. Hit the door, then run back. So that's the 70 door we needed earlier. Switch back. So what we did there is now Super Saiyan is saved on Goku. It's kind of simple as Super Saiyan storage. So what happens is it's going to keep Super Saiyan on without wasting any energy, and the next time we use Goku in this chapter, he should still be Super Saiyan. It works for some characters. Some characters, for some reason, depending on the cutscene, it'll cancel. But for some reason, Goku is one of the few that you can just get away with on anyone. So we have weighted gear plus the boots, so that way we do not have the negative effect of the weighted gear. We're going to kill people on the way there because we need to be level 85 with Gohan. We're going to skip the robot because it takes too long to kill, and it's way too long for the XP you get. We're going to do that, then we're going to eat a Senzu Bean to refresh the Super Saiyan. So what we're going to be doing this game is we're going to be kind of staying in Super Saiyan for as long as we can by using the Senzu Beans and such. That way we can keep the movement speed buff, the damage buff, and all the buffs. Because we're trying to get fast. No slow here. Gotta go fast. We're also hoping for Demon Mask or Sneakers to drop here. They're both really good time saves. Alright, now we're 85, so we're gonna run over, run up, and then run straight into another cutscene. This is Bobbity's ship. So what we're going to do here is we're going to run up to the save point, switch characters, switch to Goku, put weighted gear on Goku again. So we're going to try to get some levels so that Goku does more damage. We're not going to go out of our way to do it, but we're going to just kind of kill as we go. This will help later, like for this chapter, the next chapter, and the chapter after that. It'll help quite a bit. Put the points in. Hit the switches. So we need to hit 3 switches for the next 3 floors, so that way we can keep going on. The final floor, we're going to have to actually get the switches, then put them in the machine, then hit the switches. So, like, it's kind of tedious, but whatever. It's what you should expect from these type of games. Bonk. Each floor has a boss. So this is the boss for floor 1, which we're going to play as Vegeta. And this is one of the funnier bosses. Because of this. And he's dead. So the game wants us to play as Vegeta, but we're going to say no. So we're going to switch to Goku. Or actually, I guess Goku, not Gohan. And then we're going to keep going. Because the next boss floor is Goku, so, you know, the more levels, the more power and the strength, the more damage you'll do. Cheeseburger. Bonk. Okay, so we're down. That's the puzzle for stage 2. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add in these points. The only 2 stat points that are going to matter are strength and end. So that's the only ones you're going to see me actually use. Anything else, waste of time. Not even worth it. So this guy has this boss has an extremely high defense. So, you know how you've been seeing me hit like 300, 100, and what? I'm not going to be hitting those numbers. Especially since I don't have Demon Mask. But I'm going to be trying to hit the highest. So you'll see I'm hitting 4. When he blocks, I hit 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of up and down punch. That way I can ignore the block. And as soon as he's at a block, just keep hitting him to the side. And we're done. And now for this floor, we're gonna switch to Vegeta. And the reason for that is I want Vegeta to have a power of a strength of 80, so that way he can actually do damage. It's like we can one cycle Boo, and that's very important because the Boo fight later on is a pain because you can only hit him in certain phases. So like when Babidi gets stunned, and Babidi will just sit there and fly around, and you have to wait till he comes to the ground. So any way we can stop that, like killing, is just the best. And the fastest possible way. And you need a strength of 80 to be able to one cycle him. It's not guaranteed, because there are factors that can stop you, but normally you're fine. Yeah, this first portion of it's kind of rough. This is one of the sections where you'll start losing time just for just because of RNG item relation. Because you kind of want that demon mask here. Anything to increase your damage is very important in this game. Ignore the giant robots. Enjoy the giant robot. So for this floor, you have to hit switches to be able to go to certain rooms. So we're gonna hit this switch. It's gonna turn that on, and then we're gonna try to get that. Go in there and try to get the switch, so that way we can actually use the switch. So right now we're at a 62 strength. They're guarding way too much. The next switch. I forgot to equip my gear at the start. It's not that bad. Alright, now we're gonna hit the middle switch. So it's faster to do the switches that way, because that way you can just immediately get the pace and move forward, not have to go all the way down to the bottom floor at the end. It's barely faster. It's, like, for new runners, it's not a big deal. You can do it whatever order you want, but you do save some time doing it that way. This. I went into that room to kill things. Now we have all the switches. Now we gotta go turn on the switches. Dang, I'm not getting any good drops. It's quite disappointing, actually. 74. Okay, now we're at 80. Now, no level ups matter. We could just kind of ignore enemies and run for it. And that's chapter 5. We're on chapter 5 now. The percent of drops on Demon Mask are actually quite low. They're not the lowest, because the lowest is Sneakers. But they're not very high, so it's like, I'd say maybe 25%. I can't think of the exact percentage on top of my head. Snorkels is a lot lower. It's like 15. Snorkels is the better of the two. If you can get Snorkels, it's really good, but Sneakers is like, I think, a 2% drop in this chapter. And there's like certain items percentages will change per chapter. So like in chapter 6, Demon Mask is a lot more common. But by that point, it's kind of missed most of its time saves. So we're gonna unequip the weighted gear. That's about all we have. We don't have anything else. Disappointing. I'm just gonna kind of run. Get that enough extra level just to be safe. Yeah, we good. 83 will be a guarantee, pretty much guarantees it. Unless I mess up pretty bad. So up here, after this fight, it's technically a small bathroom break for me, so it's not bad. Because the cutscene's really long and there's no text or anything to it. Doesn't really matter what happens at the moment. Just gotta wait for Bobby to come down. And that's one cycled. There you go. Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is probably one of the longer chapters. It's probably the longest chapter, actually. I take that back. So, for this chapter, we're mostly going to be playing as Goten. Like, we're going to start with Trunks at the beginning, kind of get some levels on him, so his level doors, but we're mostly going to be playing as Goten, because he has a level 100 door we're going to have to hit. So, we're going to ignore the star, so because we don't need a Dragon Raider at all. And that star is going to stay there. Like, so because we're ignoring it, it's going to pretty much be there the rest of the game, for some reason. Because it's going to want us to go get it through the rest of the game, but we're going to be like, nope, no need for such a... We don't need a Dragon Radar here. We're too good for it. Put as many points as possible before we start really climbing the tower. Alright, we're climbing now. So, the trick for this is you want to go Trunks up the tower and then Goten down the tower. So that way you both can be at the exact level for your level doors. So these ball guys are kind of the worst enemy in the game. They hit you 3 times, they go into a ball and don't take damage until they come out. It's really annoying. Alright guys, we're gonna do a skip. Stop his punches so that way the game doesn't lag. So the giant robots, not only are they big, but they also have a flamethrower. And every time they flamethrower, the game's gonna lag. And it's pretty bad, especially here with all the cloud effects and the stuff in the background. Ooh, it can lag pretty rough. So we're gonna add all our points in. It is okay to overlevel Trunks, and the reason why it's okay is because when you fuse Trunks and Goten, their stats are like shared. So the more points you have in Trunks, the better Gotenks will be. Now it is kind of bad if you do overlevel because you do lose some time, but it doesn't hurt you that much. So for new players, don't worry so much about overleveling Trunks. So now we're going to switch to Goten. We're going to equip the weighted gear and the boots. And then we're going to go Super Saiyan. Hey, welcome. So here's the boss fight. We're going to kill the gold ball guy first. And hopefully he'll get stuck. If not, yeah, he's stuck. Okay, good. So now we're both hitting him and the boss. What we're going to do is, as soon as we kill him, put our points in, run to the other side of the boss, and then kill him. And the reason we're doing this is it's going to spawn the Dragon Balls. The Dragon Ball always will spawn on the opposite side of your character. So, because we're on this side, it'll spawn closer to the elevator. So we can grab it and be closer to the elevator as it spawns. Just like that. Oh, weighted gear. So what we're going to do is we're going to put our points in. And then we're going to equip whatever this weighted gear is. It's 10 tons, so we can't equip it. But that's good. We have a 10 ton. 10 ton is one of the much better weighted gear items for later on. It's going to play a big factor, especially since it's on the arm. Arm weighted gear is way better than boots weighted gear. And the reason for that is that way we can have our shoes to reduce the speed slowdown it comes with the weighted gear. So I'm happy about that. Because 10 armbands are super hard to find and super rare drops. That could have been easily a 2-ton, and which still is better than nothing. But knowing that we have a 10-ton for the late game actually makes me feel a lot better for that end grind. Okay, now we're going to put our points in, go down again. So kind of much for the rest of this chapter, we're going to kind of just stick with Goten. Like I said, he has a level 100 door we're going to have to hit. And we're going to stop you from flamethrowing because that is bad. But yeah, we're going to get that hit level 100 door. This also is the chapter with my favorite level. And once we get there, I'll show you, I'll explain why it's my favorite level. It's not the next one, but it's the one after the next one. Alright. We're doing fine right now. I was hoping for some better drops, but when it comes to the game, you know, the RNG, it's... You gotta just... Yeah, sorry. You just got to work with what you're given. I froze up there for a second. I don't know why, but I did. So used to doing these marathons, I don't know why I'm doing this. Alright, this, points in, and let's go. Neither one of these are worth killing. Alright, now we're off to the ninja village. So we're gonna find out which stronger, my fist or ninja. My fist, confirmed. Grab the key, and we're off. It's kind of interesting about this area, because it seems really weird. Punch, punch. Oh, reflective gloves. That's not bad. Anything that gives you a bonus on strength is good. So reflective gloves are not bad. They're not the best, but they're not bad for the next fight, for Goku's fight. But that's about it. After that, they'll be useless. Because we'll have Pilaf's glove, and Pilaf's glove will pretty much be the strongest strength punch glove we can get normally. There is one later on that drops that's even better, but they're only going to be for like Goku and Gohan at that point. Other than that, everyone else will use Pilaf glove. So I need to make sure I get Goten to 100. So that's why you're seeing me go out of my way to kill some of these enemies, because these give good XP and they're kind of the ones I prefer to kill. You can kind of kill with whatever, but these are the ones I like to kill. This is kind of a preference at the moment. Okay, so we're gonna do here, and this is just my type of movement, where I'll fly to where the star is, then turn a little bit, then fly upwards, and then we're at Diablo City Desert, the next area. That's just kind of my map manipulation, or my movement tech there. Everyone has their own different style, but that's what I normally do. Alright, we're going this way. So Diablo Desert is a weird level, because it kind of just laps. So like right now, I'm at the very far right, but if I go this way, I'm at the very far left of the room. And I'm abusing the fact that it laps that I can do that. Hey, ghost costume. Not useful, but there you go. We're gonna go this way, then up, then run to the side, then run up, and then this rock's the final switch. And that's all the switches. That's just to me, the best way to deal with this whole map. A lot of people get lost here, and especially if you normally play this, it's the worst. Oh my god. It's so precise for some reason. So this is my favorite level, and the reason for it is this part right here. We get to go on a train, boys. To me, this is the coolest level overall, just because you're jumping from train cart to train cart on a GBA game. I would have never imagined it. And the animation is so smooth. Got the Dragon Ball, and now we're going to put our points in and move on. Kill these guys. Alright, next area, we're going to angle this way and then fly upwards if my angle was wrong. Alright, fly back to Diablo Desert. This one's a little more annoying. There it is. Pyramid. My angle was off a bit. It's fine. This is my most hated level. And the reason for it is that there's a spot where you can just fall right off. And it's quite annoying because the enemies will try to push you off. And I hate this pyramid. So, for this room up ahead, you were supposed to go in the back room and do all the switch puzzles, but the switch puzzles take way too much time and they're not worth it. And we can just kind of move our way through this back portion right here. Like, we're gonna pretty much skip the back rooms every time. There's no point to them in this dungeon, when you can just go the other way and it's easier and faster. There's some funny glitches with the switches, though, if you ever want to mess around with them. $98. We are 2 levels away. We're doing pretty good on XP. We're okay on time at the moment. We could have better gear drops, but doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. We're gonna run up here. Hit this switch. We're gonna run back. Kill that ghost because he'll try to knock me off. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I hate this level, because those ghosts are the worst part of it. I should have killed him. Oh well. Weighted gear, that's fine. It makes it a little better. So this room with sneakers is almost, it's so difficult. Because you're running extremely fast. It's hard to control your character how fast you're moving. And these ghosts are the worst. Okay, so we're pretty much done with that room. Thank goodness. Put our points in. Take both our things, and then we're off. Fall through here. It's actually faster to fall. And the reason for that is, it gives us an RNG fall, and it gave us the best room to fall into. So now we actually didn't lose time for where we did normally. We still lost time, but not anywhere that bad. Beat this guy up. So what I did there is I grabbed the Ox King hat, because the Ox King hat is the highest item we can get for any percent that is for the headpiece. And it is an extreme difference, and as I can point out, it just like upped our level damage level by a huge number. And that's very important, because we're going to want to do, as like I said, the more damage you do, the faster the run will go. So anything in strength-wise is good. No other stat matters as much as strength. Endurance is pretty good, too, but that's usually for the later portion of the game. Next is Peel Off, which we're going to turn this way, and then fly here. So yeah, if you notice, we are Super Saiyan storage, Super Saiyan storage on Trunks, because for the final Dragon Ball, we're going to, well, the second to final, we're gonna just kind of use him, and since he's in Super Saiyan, and we don't have to wait for our Super Saiyan meter to fill back up. And there's two reasons why. We're gonna need another item to equip, so that our equip we have for Goten, we're gonna have to switch all the items around if we use him. But if we just use Trunks, it's less menuing for us. And now we're level 100, so now we can just kind of ignore people. Pilaf's Glove, and Dragon Ball. Put our points in, and then we're going to menu Pilaf's Glove, Mystic Ages, and that's about it. So now we have kind of the base setup, item setup for the rest of the game. We're kind of just going to rely on those. Unless we get some different gear drops, there's no real point to really using anything else. Jaded Armor would be a separate use. It has good endurance and gives strength, but if we don't get it, that's just poor RNG. You know, it doesn't matter. It's not a high drop either. But like I said, a lot of this game's time saves are very item based and movement based. So next part is the more annoying part of this section. I'm going to have to fly into an airship and find an item called a bandana. They have a high drop rate. That's the only good side. The downside is there are two types of ships. There's a ship with enemies that has drops, and then there's a coin ship. And you want the ones with the enemies. Coin ships are bad. Okay, bandana on first kill. That's good. That is really good RNG. And I will accept that. Easily. So now we have the bandana. This right here has killed many runs, because I could be sitting here doing this for 30 minutes sometimes. It's not usually that's the worst case scenario, and your RNG has to be extremely bad for that. But we lucked out. So this is what I was saying, Super Saiyan storage is good, because we can do this, put the bandana on Trunks, and just go from there. So we don't have to mess with Goten's setup at all. Now the reason we need a bandana is we're going to be going into the Thief's Den. And you can't enter the Thief's Den without the bandana. They don't recognize you as one of their own unless you have one. It's kind of a low bar, but hey. Whatever works for him, man. Let's go ahead and put these points in for Trunks, because we're not going to be playing him anymore after this. And we got the Dragon Ball, and now a monkey just stole our bandana. And now they realize we're not a thief, and they want to kill us. So let's just walk out and not have any issues with them. I'm just gonna keep going. Hopefully take no damage, because that would be really fast. Ah, well. It was bound to happen. Jinxing it every time. Switch the Goten here. It's just faster switch. So now we're gonna go into a cutscene. So we're going to take it into kind smoothly. Nothing can go wrong with plans unless a monkey takes the bandana. Pretty much. Alright, take a second, put our points in. Make sure our item setup is correct. And wait for the Super Saiyan for a second. Super Saiyan. Alright, so how many of you in chat are ready for the new Broly movie? So I'm gonna put a little, like, I guess, you know, so we have some people in there in the chat who's interested. Broly is again like the legendary Super Saiyan or whatever. I don't know how they're gonna redo it this time, but he's supposed to be like the chosen Super Saiyan, the strongest of them all. And you know, during this is, you know, his movies, he just was so overpowered that no one could really deal with him without having help or whatever. So we're about to fight Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. And, I hope, yeah, so there's something to look forward to in just a second. Vampire, the worst. If you've ever seen one of these runs, this is kind of funny. Because, like, Broly has been, like, in the series, is known as, like, a super strong villain. Hard, you know, it take forever to kill. You know, you'd have the teams of, like, people to kill them. So on and so on. We're not going to do any of that. We don't need none of that. Yeah, he keeps coming back. He's like a super strong person. We don't need any of them. We're gonna go 10 1v1 him, bro. Easy peasy. There's two types of Broly in this game. There's Broly, and then there's something I call Trolly. And the reason why I call him Trolly is there's a phase where he'll go into a certain attack where every time you swing at him, he'll jump. And then if he jumps, there's a 50% chance when he comes back down, he won't take any damage when you hit him. And it's the worst thing ever in a speedrun. Hopefully we don't get that. So, here you go, the legendary Super Saiyan Broly. And he's dead. Moving on. And there's Broly, everybody. And that's how the Z Fighters beat Broly. By Goten just punching him a few times and he falls over. The chosen one. Looks like Cell? I guess since I know what he looks like in these games, I guess not. You can see it, but in this game, nah. I don't see it. Cell's a pain in the ass. Broly's just kind of meh. A little tip for those who want to run Dragon Ball Z games. anything Cell is involved with, he's a pain in the ass. The two like worst AIs ever created in any of these DBZ games are Cell and Boo. I mean Kid Boo. Cell Juniors, funny enough, Cell Juniors aren't that bad. They're just horribly hitboxes in Log 2. Like, they have literally so small hitboxes that it's smaller than their actual model. And that's just a mistake on that aspect. They're not really that bad. Other than that. Cell, on the other hand, in Log 2 is really bad. Because he just has so many ways to just screw you over. I think that, like... I think in almost every other game except for Log 2, Cell Juniors are just kind of meh. And that's the end of Chapter 6. On to Chapter 7. Alright, so next up we got the Fusion. So in this game, Fusion runs by like a little mini game, but the people who created it made a code that works every time, and they did not remove it. So we're gonna abuse that code that works every time if I don't mess it up. I mess it up all the time because I'm bad. So like you see how the pattern's down, left, B, down, B. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna do up B, left, down, A. Fuses it every time. Okay, so for Goku, we're going to put our points in. And this is important, because right now we're under-leveled with Goku. So we're going to use the Reflective Glove. Now, don't drop the Reflective Glove, Soul. Sorry about that. Reflective Glove. Boots. That's all we have. Normally, we would use the Demon Mask, but we don't have one because it didn't drop. So we'll just have to work with the Reflective Glove. So here's the legendary Super Saiyan 3 reveal cutscene. Alright, good. No problem on that one. Pretty clean fight. Yep. That's an easy way to do it, but you can just kind of put him into any corner and just kind of back and forth hit him. If he blocks him, just hit him. This game doesn't have the recoil from Log 2, where if you hit someone into a wall, they bounce off. This is just kind of more of put them into a wall half the time and beat them up. But if you put him right there, yeah, he'll kind of get stuck between you and Bobbity. Oh man, it didn't register my first input, so that failed. Fell fusion. Just for the hell of it. Sometimes it just doesn't register that first one and I hit it. So, the reason why we wanted to make sure the gear was set for Goten before we moved on to this chapter is that now Goten has the best gear. Gotenks has the best gear, because it's based off of Goten. So now we have, like, really high damage. Good fight. Yeah, and the combat in this game is way more forgiving. So we just found out that Gotenks isn't strong enough without, you know, not strong enough to beat him right now. And that's the end of Chapter 7. Chapter 7's like really short, as you can tell. No leveling or nothing, you just 2 fights and you're done. Oh, Chapter 8. There's enough time checking my phone. Ah, dang it. I thought I was far enough down to dodge that last cloud, but I was not. So that hand can pop up and stop your Super Saiyan, which is why I ran up till it spawned, then use Super Saiyan. So that way I didn't have to deal with that. The reason I'm leveling up so fast is because I have weighted gear on, plus the fact that Goku is very under level for this area. By this point, you should already be like, the game, they think you should be level 100. But because we've been running through things and not worrying about it, we're very under level. That's why you can see how everything hits really hard. So being under level plus weighted gear really just throws in that XP for you. We're gonna be like running with the bare minimum through most of this. Is it a good run? Yeah, it is a really cool speed run and a very easy one to pick up at that. There's a lot of interesting ways this game was put together, and let me tell you, bud, this game was put together so poorly that it's so fun to break. So, for example, I'm going to try to see if we get the RNG skip. So this is kind of like instant transmission. It's really weird, very funky. It should have went to the Switch, but chose not to. Sometimes it'll go to that switch and it will just fling you across the room for no reason whatsoever. So this is Maze Skip 1. Run to this very corner, run all the way back to the rock, and the rock is loaded, so you can break it. So the way that works is, they wanted, they don't want you to do the maze twice, so they decided that on this side of the wall, there's a loading zone for that rock to break. So that way you can break the rock and not have to do the maze again. But just at the very corner of that maze is inside that loading zone. So when you hit that loading zone, the rock spawns, so you can go break the rock and then go right through and skip the whole maze portion. Thank you for the good luck. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's kind of an interesting skip there. I know that was going to be asked. A bunch of interesting factors in this game. There is an XP cap on certain things. So, like, weighted gear can help, but there is a limit to how much it will help you. But anything to gain more XP for short periods of time, and like I said, wearing weighted gear plus movement speed boost will reduce the slowdown from the weighted gear. So right now the setup I have is I'm wearing a 2-ton armband with sandals, which cancels out the 2-ton armband's movement speed debuff completely. And that's going to be kind of the setup I'm going to run off with for most of this. Just if this is your first time seeing a run of this and this especially for this marathon, this is a first time for a lot of people probably. This game is really buggy, and like I said, when it comes to late game, you're gonna see me skip bosses and all kinds of stuff, neat stuff. And just to tell you, it is very easy to do, and I will explain how these work as we're going on. You'll be able to do them at home or whenever you want without ever having to practice. They're pretty simple. This game is very simple, very fun, and just about anyone can pick it up for a speed run if they really wanted to. If you're willing to sit through the grinding sections, that's the only problem with them, in my opinion. Okay, go Super Saiyan. I like all the DBZ, pretty much handheld games, except for DBZ Clay Fighters, and that's not its actual name, but it might as well be. if you're interested, like I said, if anyone's interested into learning the run, I would highly recommend it. We have we have several runners who are willing to help you out at any time. It's a very welcomed community, especially for Boost Fury. Log 2 is the rougher of the 3 games, but if you're willing to take on a challenge, do Log 2, man. Good luck. That game is painful. Lee Strong. It's really good, but painfully skill based. Boost Fury is the easiest of the 3, but at the same time, the longest of the 3 too. Now I have to go through this area one more time. I should have killed that ghost. XP was a little off, but that's fine. Okay, we're good. A 6-hour run? Yeah, you're fine. This game is nowhere close to 6 hours. Unless you're trying to do 100%, and then that's around 12. I think. I'm not too sure. It's not completely routed properly, so maybe shorter than that, but somewhere around there. Boom. Pilaf gloves, Little one, Ox King hat, Mythic Aegis. So the reason why you not only did you saw me switch it for switch my gear for Goku is not only does it give Goku bonus stats, but it also is Gogeta. So the way the fusion works is it's based on the last person you were playing during the fusion. So since I was playing as Goku, Goku's items will carry over. If the last person I was playing as Vegeta, Vegeta would carry over. Interesting thing about this fight is, if you enter the fight as Goku, you'll end up with Vegeta at the end. If you enter the fight with Vegeta, you'll end up as Goku at the end. And that used to be a big factor, because we used to not level up Goku at all there. So we would have to end up going at the beginning portion as Goku and then Vegeta, but then we swapped it to where we leveled some Goku up and then made him at the end. That way we didn't have to swap back and do all this extra stuff later on. It also made it easier for the later grind. Because going into that fight, the later grind with barely any health pretty much meant if we got hit once, we were dead. So it made it a lot easier with a little route change there. So next up is the worst chapter of the game, and the reason why I say it's the worst chapter is this next chapter is pretty much majority grinding. But after this chapter is done, there will be no more grinding in the run. So once we get to the grinding section, if y'all want to get up and get some popcorn or, you know, use the restroom, would be the best time to do it. Because those grinds take a bit. Literally, if we could find a way to skip the grinding portion at the end, this game would be so much better. But, you know, level doors suck, so... Yeah, Gohan grinding and Goku grinding. Mandatory grinding. I like how, like, they have to jump backwards to walk forwards. It's so silly. It's always the silliest thing. Okay, so right here, what we're going to do is we're going to switch characters to Goten, because Goten has the highest level and can use all the gear. So now we're going to equip Pilaf's gloves, boots, Ox King hat, and Mystic Aegis. Now, I do have to say, if you walk out the door and you see Goten and you have Goten, run back in the door immediately. If you walk up to Goten and you're talking to him as Goten, the game will crash. And it is it's not very likely to happen, but it has happened a few times in mid-runs, and it is a run killer. It actually makes it less of a chance if you equipped your gear, and the reason for that is it's giving it some time for the game to realize, hey, you're playing as Goten. But there is, like I said, that is one of the soft locks in the game, where the game doesn't register as you as playing as Goten right away, and you just talk to Goten instead. I try to go out of my way to make sure that does not happen. Yep. So, one thing about Boost Fury I will explain is it's a very buggy mess because there's so much to the game that there's a lot of just glitches, soft locks, and random stuff like that just appear. There's actually a soft lock in the game, and it's designed in the game to happen at just randomly, and it actually happens after the big grind where you're fighting Super Buu as Goku. You can actually instant transmission hit him off the screen, and he'll never come back. So it can actually decide not to load collision for some reason. And there's actually two versions of that. You can hit him off screen where he'll fly off forever, or you can hit him off screen, he'll come back, and the game freezes. We're just gonna hope we don't get that one, because that one's way more common. So now we're gonna put all our points in. Alright. Better have Krillin, please. So next up is the grinding portion. It is a good time to go make yourself a snack, or get some popcorn, or go use the restroom, or whatever you choose to do. Because you'll just be seeing me running back and forth, killing mobs until I hit 140. And I think that's hilarious because they decided you can't play Gohan for most of the game. Oh shit, this is the time to get Gohan. What can we do to make it so we can play as him more? Because as soon as this portion's over, you don't get to play as him again. Oh, I know. Let's force them to grind several levels. That seems fun. That's not what I wanted. And the sad part about it is, because now that we're Mystic Gohan, we don't have Super Saiyan. So we actually have to deal with that we don't get any movement speed buffs. And it's kind of dumb. It's kind of stupid, because now that means Gohan is the weakest character in the game, from that reason alone. Even though he's supposed to be the strongest at this point. Lucky for us, we actually have some decent weighted gear, so it's not gonna be, the grind won't be too bad. Yes, hydration bot, that is a good idea. You gotta have some water. Just gotta stay hydrated, guys, remember that. There are no sneakers in this run so far. I was not lucky enough to get them. Feels bad, man. No kazoo either. I guess I could explain that. So in this game, for those who've played this game, you should know there's a drop called kazoo. And, kazoo is a item you'll equip that reduces stats and makes a sound. But what it doesn't tell you is it also is considered a grinding item. So you're actually getting bonus XP for having a kazoo equipped. So it's an actual another XP item you could add on. Yeah, 33% bonus XP. Almost as much as a 10-ton. Alright, so this is this portion. We still got a few more to go, guys, for this part. And then we gotta do Goku grinding. Woo! Goku grinding's a little more extreme, though, so... But after all this grinding, you get to see the cool skips and all that for late game. Alright. One more fusion. It's... Alright, so this is the Gohan fight, and after this fight, we won't be using Gohan anymore for the rest of the game. Now it's time for the Goku grind. So Goku grind is a little longer and a lot more dangerous. Because at the start of it, we're gonna pretty much grind in the same area until we become safe, barely, where we can survive 2 hits. And then we're gonna go fight the ball guy. And the ball guy, the reason we're fighting him is because he gives way more XP. And that's pretty much it. He gives way more XP than that whole area. It's just way more, it's better to worth it to do. But it's very scary because he could kill me in 2 hits for most of the time. What is considered high quality H2O? To me, anything with ice. Regular basic water with ice. So I'm going to focus on this one for a bit, guys. So I'm going to be quiet until we hit the right level. Because this is kind of stressful for Goku grinding. Alright, so now that we're doing the grinding, I'm saving right there just in case we get the soft lock. I normally save right there just in case we get the soft lock anyway, but just in case it happens, I can reset and jump right back to that spot. It's 1. That's 2. And that's 3. We're good. We made it past it without getting the soft lock. All right. So for those who stuck around for the grinding portion, this is where the game starts to get cool because we're gonna start skipping bosses and pretty much the game gets very intense. I didn't want to pick that up. So the game right now wants us to play this portion with Vegeta. We're not going to play as Vegeta. We're going to play as Goku. The reason why they want us to play as Vegeta is they want Vegeta to get as much levels as possible to kind of even out as with Goku. But, nah. We don't need that. We got the movement speed from all that. We're going to go super fast with Goku. So inside of Boo is a very glitchy and just awkward mess. This is probably the level they decided to work on at the end, like the last level. And the reason why I say that is because this area is just full of glitches and full of just crazy stuff. And you're about to see one of them. So there was a skip that we could have done where we could have skipped that last room with the puzzle by just pushing a blood cell into the door, instant transmission, and load into it. Problem is, it hasn't been activated. So this is bad. Because you can just run up to the very top of the edge, close to the wall, and then run to the left, and you'll just skip that fight. This one you can't skip. So that's the only one we're going to do, really, in this section. But yeah, you can do like crazy skips like that. There's ways you can soft lock the game by going out of Super Saiyan in a loading zone. As you can tell, we just skipped straight up 2 bosses without any issue. There's a lot of cool stuff like that. Another thing is what I'm about to do it's called Candy Clip. And what's going to happen is I'm going to be turned into a piece of candy, and Boo's going to literally push me through the loading zone. If I can do this correctly. I need to turn my candy right there. Okay. And there we go. So what happened was he turned me into a cupcake, and the reason Super Boo is extremely tall, so when he grabs you as a cupcake, he pulls you into his head, and luckily, if you position him right, he pulls his head into the loading zone, so you pull it into the you into the loading zone, and as long as you're holding up while you're in a loading zone or any direction of the loading zone takes top priority, so you just skip a lot of stuff like that. It does, but the way... Okay, so it's weird, because for some reason Gohan's room is a flip of the other one, and the collision where it should be is at the bottom, but because it's at the bottom, they actually patched that for some reason. But in the other rooms, it's at the top, so you can just kind of skid right through the door. There's a wall still there, but you're just barely squeezing through the wall. But for Candy Clip, like I said, when it comes to this game, we found out that loading zones take top priority over everything. You can actually die in a loading zone, and it would cancel it out. So when this was found, it was pretty much by accident. We were pulled in, and he was just holding up, and then boom, he hit the loading zone. He activated the ability direction of the loading zone, took top priority, skips that fight, skips the cutscenes afterwards. It actually saves quite a bit of time. There are other like skips you can do. Like I said, the blood cell, where you can go and push a blood cell with your Kai Blast into a loading zone, instant transmission into that loading zone, while holding the direction and immediately just go on to the next area. There's several in Hell that you can do the instant transmission with skip in. Boo instant transmission skip. There's just like I said, there's a lot of things you can do in this game that you could just glitch hunt and have a blast just looking for stuff. So this portion is just mostly fighting. Not really anything interesting I'm going to show right off the back. Not until Vegeta's portion. Okay, stay right there. I want you to stay right in this corner. Or not. Alright, that's unfortunate. Alright. So, next, this is the... Okay, so the next part is Vegeta's part. This is the hardest fight in the game, so I'm actually going to have to focus for this. And the reason for that is, I die in 3 hits. Exactly. And he can hit twice immediately. And that's because Vegeta is super under level. But what we're going to do here is, if it lets me, we're going to shoot off a Big Bang, and what's going to happen is the Big Bang is going to stun lock them. And I'm going to try to hit them as we're running through. Run off the screen. The best way to do it is you want to hit them before they make a clone of themselves. If they make a clone of themselves, this makes this a lot harder to do. Alright. I got him into the wall. I need to pay close attention of what's going on here. Okay, now he's down to... Now he's back to his regular self. Big Bang. Eat a Sensu Bean. And then put him back into the wall. Hopefully he will not move from this spot. Okay, good. Goku Part 2, I think is next, which is, again, easy since Goku's actually at the right level for that fight. The Dim Amulet, because why not? Alright, so that portion's gone. Vegeta waiting portion next. Alright. Here's the Vegeta dancing portion for those who would like to see Vegeta dance. There you go. So this right here is just a timer. We're gonna have 2 of these, or we're just gonna have to wait for the timer. Yeah, so that's a glitch in the game where if there's a Kid Buu clone, it'll just stay there for some reason. Clone will, and then the original one will go back into its position to do the cutscene. It's kind of funny. It's just a glitch in the game. One of its many glitches. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is pause, despawn the Spirit Bomb, immediately Big Bang, push them both back into the side, and then run up here. So now there's no Spirit Bomb on screen. The reason why I did that is because if I did not despawn the Spirit Bomb, the game would lag, which would mean the timer will go down slower, and I want it to go down as fast as possible since this is a speed run. So now it just looks like he has his hands up in the air. Woo! For the hell of it. So as you can notice that because the Spirit Bomb is on the screen, the game is kind of moving a little slower, and that's because of all the lag it's doing. And you can see how the screen is tearing and stuff. Alright, so now we're going to play a little mini game of press all the buttons as fast as I can. The time will be coming up soon, as soon as you see me hit yes on entering Capsule Corp's garden area. And time. Well, that's... Well, thank you guys for letting me be here. That was Dragon Ball Z Boo's Fury. What was it, 2:37:44? That's not bad. That's alright. I could have been way better, but then again, could have been way worse. Yeah, this, like I said, the Legacy of Goku games are a lot of fun. If anyone is interested in any of the DBZ games, do hit us up on the DBZ Discord. We are all willing to help you out if any way we can. Like I said, if anyone's interested in this game, don't hesitate. Like I said, our runners are willing. DB earlier said it earlier. We're a very small community, but we are willing to. We would love to grow, meet new people, put the game, make people have more people to play the games and such. Like I said, if you're interested in any of the DBZ games, just ask the runners. They'll be willing enough to help you. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of this marathon. Wait for these cutscenes to end real quick. Get to the credits. I think that should be it. I'm not sure what comes next. But I thank y'all for those who watched the next, and thank y'all for hanging around. And thank y'all for having me for the marathon. Interesting little trip about the credits. If you hold the down button, it just makes the credits go twice as fast. Well, thank y'all for letting me participate, and that should be it for me. Y'all can move on to whoever is next. And make sure, guys, y'all donate, because this is a good marathon.
Alright, so as we're getting set up here for a few more runs for the marathon, I did want to go ahead and update you guys on what's coming up. We do have a couple donation incentives that are coming up, so I'll go ahead and talk about those. We have the Project M used sunglasses for Diddy Kong and Squirtle. That's going to be $15 if you are interested in that one. We also have Bid Wars for Project M in-game tags. We also have the same for the Super Smash Bros. Melee in-game tag. And we still have a lot more incentives for today. We have the Let's Tap Play Tap the Papaya in Rhythm Tap mode. And trying to see what else we have for today, because I want to make sure we're going through all of this correctly. Oh yes, okay, so in the Mario and Sonic at the 2012 Olympic Games, we do have the character choice, Bid War. We have that as well. And also, if you want to keep up to date on your donation trackers, you'll be able to look at the bottom of the screen when we're in stream to check that out. And also here on the break screen, you're seeing some things that are already being met. That's awesome. Great to see. And I did want to go ahead and mention there was a slight change in schedule as we're coming up to the next couple of runs. So instead of Dive Kick with Shadowy Moon, we will have Shaq Fu with Count Gooby continuing our awesome Speedy Fist action. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll be able to get Dive Kick back in this marathon. But all things considered, it's still going to be a great marathon regardless of what happens. We're going to just keep this ball rolling. Alright, so up next we have DB Arcade with the Battle G Gundam. So we'll be ready here in just a few minutes. So please stay tuned and hope you continue to enjoy the marathon. We'll be right back.